Today is the 29th of March, 2020, and today is a situation that happens only about every 148 years. Astrologically, we have Jupiter, the planet of expansion, spirituality, inspiration, the higher mind, vision. Many seers are Sagittarius, many visionaries are Sagittarius, many great philosophers are Sagittarius, many great people that move beyond the boundaries of race and religion and color are Sagittarian or have a strong Sagittarius influence in their chart. Today it's conjunct Pluto. That's a heavy-duty, fantastic opportunity. We have been asked and pushed beyond our own limits. Now, if you look back on your lives individually, we see our lives where we've had these periods we've gone through in our life that have been just agonizing. You know, say we've gone through the death of somebody we loved, or battled an illness ourselves, or we've lost our home or our job or an opportunity or our mind, we've lost our mind. We have gone through some kind of internal suffering through often an external experience. The difference now is that as a humanity, as the force of creation of the earth, of all that exists on this earth, we are now being asked to grow as a unit, to grow as one, to recognize the power of our unity. And we're being brought together beyond party lines, beyond country borders. We're being brought together by one common fear. We're afraid to get ill. We're afraid we're going to contract a virus. We're afraid somebody in our family is going to get that. But really, if you go beyond that and you let go of the focused laser beam on this virus, it's time to let that go. Because what you're doing is you're taking all your powers of concentration and focus and putting them on something of a lesser vibration. And so you're bringing yourself into that vortex of a lesser vibration. And that in turn is bringing you to a place of sitting in a state of polarity and forgetting the greatness and grandness of your internal being, of your soul. And as we said in our last video, the inner is becoming the outer. And I'd written a couple of things down here. One of them was, there comes a time in our life when a whole new vista of how we see life to be and experience life to be is required. So right now we are what we once imagined would fulfill us or be our life experience. It is no more. And so we're being asked to formulate a new vision of how we wish the world to be. Now, this is not coming overnight. It's coming in glimpses. It's coming even in geographical areas of the world, looking at them and seeing how they are counteracting the issues that they're facing, which is our issue also. We are binding together as one humanity. There are plenty of times in our life when we have to grow into meeting our vision. So to me, the purpose of the insulation, of the isolation, of the incubation is to grow into our new vision, to grow into what we knew at a soul level would happen to humanity at this time. We all sensed something coming. We didn't know how it would manifest. And the thing that's terrifying people the most right now is the not knowing. The fact that nothing is secured, that their daily schedule has been disrupted, that they're wondering if they're going to maintain a job, if they're going to maintain their health, if one of their family members is going to be ill, if they're going to be able to hold on to their house or pay their rent, or a myriad of what ifs. And what I've found personally, the only way that I feel to get through this is to go into the moment of what is beautiful about the incubation, isolation, and introspection. What is beautiful? What is brewing? What is cooking beneath the surface? It's like a tree that has been in a tornado and all the leaves have been pulled off it and it's standing there bare and exposed to the heavens, but the roots are still there. And if you think of trees, their roots are spreading out and they're still touching through a network the roots of other trees, and that's how they communicate. They communicate through the branches and the leaves, and they communicate through the roots, and they support each other through the roots. So what are we doing? We're on the internet supporting each other. So that network of tree roots that we've created with friends, with other countries, with new philosophies, with new ways of thinking, it's all little tendrils are reaching out. They haven't solidified yet. They haven't got a solid footing yet, but it's happening. There's a lot happening right now that will be great and grand and new and wonderful. It's kind of like thinking you might have cancer or you might have an illness, but not knowing. And so being in the state of not knowing is harder than grappling the reality of whatever something is. And we don't know yet what it is. We don't see the unfoldment yet of what it is or where it's all going. So there's this kind of trepidation about our daily life. And it's been a almost, I guess, what you would call a grieving of a way of life that is no more. And but if we have been doing our deep spiritual work and gone through a lot of internal loss and suffering in our existence, we've found those inner realms of light and resting in divinity and restoration in God, in the God within, because our soul within is connected to the all that is. And through moving into the soul, we are actually going into restoration. To deny the soul right now and continually distract ourselves is not the route through this. The route through it is the inner allowing. I allow myself to hear and experience and listen to my inner being and to let it guide me in every moment. So this Jupiter conjunct Pluto, Pluto being, as we've talked before, the phoenix or the self-immolation of burning away, and Jupiter comes along and says, now that you've burnt things away, now that you're self-purifying, now that you're emptying out the old dregs and heading all this pain and fear and scarcity come to the surface. That's always been in you, but it's now come up in spades, right? Because the vibration of earth has raised and it's hitting all those insecure, vulnerable parts of us. So the way through that is to let it go. Let it just filter up to the surface and let it go. Keep cleansing, keep having Epsom salt baths to release, to release, to release. So what it is, in a way, is a holy time of a baptism by fire. It's an acceleration, and the acceleration is so great. Every day, just seeing the virus accelerating, we wake up in the morning going, oh, turn on the TV, I'm going to see that it's accelerated and accelerated, accelerated. And that, don't let that accelerate your fear zones. Go back into the reality that a very, very, very small percentage of people are dying from this in comparison to the people that are going through it, almost like a purging or a cleansing, and coming out of it okay, making it through. So we're thinking doomsday is today and how short life is, but through realizing our own mortality, in a way, it's a plus, because how much we have been pushing our mortality to the side and distracting ourselves with a myriad of ways of entertainment and not doing this inner checking in. In a way, we are suffering only if we buy into time and the unfoldment of the expansion of something on the earth that's sort of creeping on the earth and attacking externally the internal organs and bodies of people. We're only falling into that pit of suffering if we're not restoring ourselves internally with the light, because the light and the resting in God and the illumination of our own being brings us to such a vibration, as I've said before, that we are radiating and just radiating light. Nothing is going to stick to that, but we have to go to that inner place. So I wanted to pull a few cards on the next few weeks and see what I got here. And as I said before, we are growing to meet our own new vision. So what better time would it be than to create a collage in your life, or a list in your life of words that symbolize what you would like to manifest in your life. I remember years ago, I was working in Calgary and I'd just given up. I used to run a stable. I used to have 26 horses and dozens of riders, and Gigi and I were riding and training and selling horses. And I supported a family, along with my darling girl's help, of 7 people for 21 years. 5 people for 21 years, 7 people for about 12 years. And then I decided to get out of that business because I didn't like how our horses were being treated after we sold them. They didn't get that same tender, loving care, and they were being abused again, and it was heartbreaking. We couldn't stand it. So I had been trained in business at university, and I decided to start up a business consulting firm. Concurrently at that time in Calgary, everybody, the oil industry had gone bust. oil prices had flattened, and people had lost thousands and thousands of jobs. So it was an ideal time for me to start up a company about startup. So people were coming to me with the dreams they'd always had hidden deep within their soul, but because they'd been making so much money in the oil industry or had a steady job in the oil industry, they had not lived out their own dream. And all of a sudden, here they were forced to start a new life. So people were coming to me like, I've always had this idea to do this. So it'd be anything from the sulfur industry to creating a new kind of Christmas tree ornament to starting a restaurant. And I was writing the business plans and the financials for all these different people. And as we went out to find the seed money for these people, I saw these people's lives come to life and their hopes and dreams become a reality. And one girl in the fashion industry got an investor, and all of a sudden all her designs were now going to be in a fashion show. And this was a constant. My daily life was writing these business plans, finding the money, and then people on their way. So I learned a great deal, but I also had the joy of running again, because I've never in my life really worked for somebody since I was a young girl working for my father. And so I've always had a life of never working for somebody else. Either it was riding horses in the stable or starting my own business. That was how I lived. I was very independent and liked to be innovative and resourceful. It's my personality to be a freedom lover. And so I really got a kick out of all these people that were exploring that part of themselves for the first time. The reason I'm bringing that up is that we are in a similar period where there may be a lot of people that lose jobs, or the industry that they're in can't get back on its feet for a long time, and they have to think, well, what do I want to do? What have I always wanted to do if I wasn't doing this? What is my hidden inner dream? I really ask you right now, think about that. Think about, or have I always wanted to write a book or paint or do music, or things that I thought, I could never make any money off that, but yet it brings some kind of spiritual celebration of life back into you. Or I've always wanted to be able to spend more time with my kids. Or I've always wanted to sing. Or I've always wanted to write children's books. The list is endless, right? So let yourself discover your own greatness through listening to your soul within. Get out a pad, start writing down all the gifts that you think you have. And then write the things you've always wanted to do and see if you can match them up. See if there's some kind of dream in there that can be realized. Maybe you're being kicked in the derriere to stop being so practical and to choose something where it really lifts your heart and you live with less money, but you live more joyfully. Let yourself explore. And have some conversations with the God within. So let's take a look, because I feel we're turning a corner. I don't mean we're turning a corner. I remember I said before the 16th to the 23rd, things would be a lot better. I do feel that. But I think what's a lot better too is the internal expression of humanity, the internal way of coping that humanity finds within itself. It discovers its God self. I'm not saying everybody on this earth is going to be enlightened God. I know that's not going to happen. But there's something beautiful afoot. I mean, yesterday I saw that the elephants, where they used to take people on elephant rides with the big wooden seats, and the elephants were chained and horribly suffering. Now they're going to, in India, on the big reserves where they used to take people for rides, now they're going to let them go free, and people will come and pay an admission to see them. So there are good things happening. There are swans and dolphins in the canals in Venice, and the waters have subsided, and the skies are not filled with chemtrails, so the kids at night can finally see the stars in many countries. Families are gathering together. Families are sorting out stuff. Some families are at each other's throats, but in some way issues are coming up that needed to be dealt with that have been shoved aside for decades. I can say that even within my own family, a lot of stuff has come up in this last week. It's okay. Let yourself hear the other person, and then ask them to hear you. So let's see what's coming up in this week. I feel optimistic. Call me a cockeyed optimist. I've been called that my whole darn life. But I feel it's good things are brewing. I'm not denying that there's suffering and that there's not going to be more of it. But as with anything, let the suffering bring you to your inner being and to release. So let's attend to what we are being called to be. God's presence in the world. That's what we're being called to be. However we do it. As a cook, look at that guy out there cooking for all the people in the hospitals, all the hospital workers. Look at those hospital workers coming from all over the world and getting on a plane and saying, I'm here to help. Do what you're being called to do. And how can you know what you're being called to do? Unless you stand and attend to your soul and allow to come in what the messages are and accept what they are. I accept it. Okay, God, you're leading me this way. You're telling me to go there. You're telling me to help that person. You're showing me another part of that person whom I've always judged. And then attend to what you're being shown. So first you're awaiting it. I'm awaiting. I'm awaiting what they want to tell me. Now I'm allowing it. I'm just saying, okay, that's what you want. Okay, I'm going with it. I'm rolling with it. I'm flowing with it. I'm accepting it. And now I'm going to attend to what you just told me. Because think about what a prison is, right? Excuse me, I keep dropping cards, but that's a good thing. Look what fell out. The star. The vision. This is such a grand card. And it fell out next to the card of healing. So through our healing, this is my card for healing. Through my card, the healing comes through creating the new vision. Create the new vision. This is a great opportunity. Worldwide. So could you tell me, over the month of April, whoa, you fell out. Here it is. Remember we got this card before. This is a great, 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 beautiful card. It's a 9. It's the Hermit. It's you awaiting and allowing and accepting and taking it out there. You got a new life ahead of you. How great is that? I see all my kids, all my friends. I've been doing so many readings. I see all of them with a new life coming. I'm releasing the boundaries of my prisons of thought, and I'm going right down into my heart. My heart is optimistic. My heart has no fear. My heart has nothing but a knowing in the moment of the right mode, of the right choice to make. My heart knows, your heart knows. And as a unified heart, humanity knows. So for this month, they're saying come back on and do another reading week by week. But it's a new life. And over the next 3 to 4 weeks, you are going to feel so different, so much better, so much more optimistic, so much more filled with your own joy and even helping others. You're going to feel good about that. I love you guys so much. We're all in this boat together. We're not alone. Never have we been more together than now. I read some of the posts on Facebook. So beautiful. So supportive. I noticed a lot of animals have crossed over recently. It's kind of like they stay with their owner, help them get through the vision. Here they come. Here comes my little flower fairy. Just as I'm talking about crossing over, it's kind of what's going on here with her too. We don't know when, but it's coming. So don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. Please leave your comments. And if you've got a great joke to leave me a fabulous joke. Jupiter's about joking around too, finding a humor. If we can't laugh right now, we're going to sit around in misery and complaining about what the president's doing. Oh my God, have you had enough of that one? Let's get on with it. And I'll leave you with one final card. There it is, the card of a new creative vision, the creative fire, the Ace of Wands. This is a new month. It's a month of Aries. Be a catalyst for yourself. God be with you. Have mercy on yourself and others. Thank you.